They just said lose weight. Felt like something was wrong with me. I ended up really struggling with money. I lost crazy amount of weight. Hello, yeah, well, my name is Victoria. It's a pleasure to have you here on my channel. Today I wanted to speak with you about the beginning of my modeling journey, weight struggles, lifestyle changes, and how I became healthy again. So if you're interested, stick around. I was scouted when I was about 17 in my hometown in Russia. My hometown called Ufa. Agent came from Moscow and she was looking for girls who could potentially work abroad. She liked the way I looked, and at the beginning I didn't even believe her because I was not particularly confident, and I didn't believe that I could possibly make it abroad. And as well, I was not very keen on modeling itself because Russia is filled with horror stories, especially about modeling abroad. And it was very scary to trust someone and to realize that it's all gonna be okay and it's all legit and this is a real job like most of others and not anything dodgy. So that was that. And as well, I just didn't believe how I could have been chosen from hundreds of other girls, because I always was very critical about myself. I still am. I always thought that girl is better than me. She has a better, posture, or she walks better. So this is what I had to work through all my career, just trying to build self-confidence and to realize that we are all unique and we are beautiful and we are perfect in our own ways. But anyway, back to the story. She scouted me and she spoke to my parents. We signed the contract. Everything was looking okay. Looking back at it, I should have been more careful with signing the contract. I'm talking about this in my previous video. I will put the link right now. But at that point of time, everything felt okay, and my mother half trusted her. So I decided to give it a go. We signed the contract, as I said, and I went to Moscow. In Moscow, we did my first ever Polaroids and first test shoot. Test shoot is just a simple, plain you and the photographer shooting, where most of the times you don't have any makeup and very simple, minimal clothing like t-shirt, pair of jeans. It's just to see how you will behave in front of the camera, if you are photogenic, if you can open up slightly. Most of the girls are very scared in the first test shoot, and I wasn't any different. I couldn't understand what to do with my body, how to move, if I should smile or if I shouldn't, how to look fierce. Like that, I didn't understand for a long time, and they told me to look strong. I thought that strong meant hungry, but yeah, strong means something different. I did that, and she sent all the Polaroids and the test shoot to all the agencies abroad, and next signed me worldwide, which was a great update. And I got them as my agency in New York, London, Paris and Milano. So I was very excited. I was supposed to go and see them a few months after, but because I had a time opening, my agency offered me to go to Japan to make some money, because Asia is mainly a commercial market. So you go there and you sign the contract, you have a guaranteed sum of money that you will make. You make anything on top, you have more money. Basically, it's a little bit not complicated, but it has its own things. So if you want me to talk more about how Asia modeling works, I can do another whole video, because there is some hidden stones in that market as well. For example, most of the agencies will make the guarantee just as big as your expenses. Basically, what they do, they prepay for your flight, accommodation, and the driver, because in Asia you need to have a driver. Most of the times you cannot move yourself because it's too confusing, you don't understand the language. Expenses are covered, but as soon as they deduct it from your guarantee money, there's pretty much nothing left. So some girls go there with great expectations of earning that much money, and when they end up leaving, they pretty much have nothing left. Thank God it wasn't the case for me, but there are dodgy people and dodgy situations in any market in this industry. So, as I said, if you want me to talk more about things like that, I'm more than happy to film a separate video. But for now, let's come back to the journey. I met there one of my really good friends, and I met there an amazing woman who really helped me. She was a little bit older, she was a supermodel. She taught me how to dress, how to pose, what to say on the castings if client asks you. In Japan, it's very easy because people don't speak that well English, so it's pretty basic. So even with a basic English, you can get away. Lots of girls there are Russian, so you can always speak with your fellow roommates and ask them questions if you need to. It was very simple, and in Japan you are very sheltered, and as I said, I was really lucky because I met some incredible people there. I was always surrounded by good energy, and thank God for that, because it was my first ever trip, and it was a huge contrast between my city and Tokyo. Tokyo is massive, and it feels like it never stops. There's so many people, there's movement, and it's just can be very confusing if you never saw anything like that, and I sure never did. I was lucky enough to be surrounded by supportive people, and they were all good influence, because as well, as sheltered as Tokyo is for younger girls, because most of the girls that are going to Tokyo are younger models. You can start modeling there from as young as 12 years old, which I think is too young, because there are some not great experience that you can go through. There's free alcohol and there are clubs, and you have access to all of it. And if you are not pretty sure what to do with your life yet, or what you want from your life, it's very easy to go to the different path that you don't want to go. But luckily I was guided, and I always knew what I wanted, and I wanted simply to work. I wanted to be professional. I really wanted to make it, and I wanted to work abroad. I wanted to see the world, basically. I really enjoyed my time in Tokyo. It was one of, and still one of the best memories that I have from modeling. Sorry, the sun was going down really fast and it was becoming really dark, so I decided to change my camera settings. So if you want me to talk more about anything, just let me know in the comments below. As well, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do so and give this video a thumbs up if you like it. But back to the big modeling world. After my trip to Japan, I had another trip planned to go to London, and I was really excited because I was meant to see my agency in London, which was Next Models. They were really enthusiastic, so I was very looking forward. But before that, I had to do my finals in school. I was studying a lot, I was not moving much, and as a result, I put a little bit on weight. I didn't even realize that, but as soon as I have landed in London and they took me to the agency, they just look at me like, not judgy, but kind of, they were evaluating me, and then they measured me. My hips were 91, which is completely fine, and they're 91 right now. At that point, they said that, oh, it's too big, you have a very big appointment planned. You have to see British Vogue, you have to see Maida, which was a casting director for Calvin Klein at that time. And they said, you have to go home and lose weight. They didn't say how, they just said lose weight. Obviously I went on the diet, and they sent me home, for crying out loud, to Russia. It was 14 hours plus flight. I spent a few hours in London. How messed up with that? Because of 2 centimeters, they sent me home. It still doesn't fit in my head, because now I know how industry works, and I was absolutely crushed because first I was really looking forward to that trip, and second I immediately felt like something was wrong with me, but nothing was wrong with me, it was something wrong with these freaking people. So I went home, I started dieting, and I went on this crazy Atkins diet, and I was eating meat at that time. I was cutting out all the carbs and pretty much having proteins only: meat, chicken, eggs. Crazy. I lost weight, I didn't have any energy, and I didn't feel great, but I did lost weight. I came back for Fashion Week and they were really happy. And in my head, that meant that the skinnier I get, the happier they're gonna get. That means like I'm doing something right. As well, Fashion Week is such a long, tiring process. You work insane hours. You leave the apartment at 8 a.m., you came back at 1 a.m., you have castings, fittings, and it's just a lot. I didn't have any friends this time. I hardly still spoke English. I spoke a little bit in order to explain myself, but it wasn't, I couldn't really have a conversation with anyone. I wasn't fluent and I was not confident. As well, I didn't have money. Agency usually give you pocket money, but I think at that time they gave £55 a week, which was okay to kind of really on the budget to buy things in the supermarket, but you cannot possibly go out with this money and eat. As well, you have to pay for your transport, you have to pay for your phone, so I hardly had any money. My family is very simple, so I didn't want to take money from them. I ended up really struggling with money, and as well, I knew in my head that okay, even if I starve a little, that means that I'm only gonna get better. So after that Fashion Week, I lost crazy amount of weight. They started to say that I'm too skinny, and they sent me home because of that. I did well on that Fashion Week, but now they said, oh, for Fashion Week it was okay, but you're not looking healthy anymore. You have to put the weight back on. And that just messed up my head so much, because I didn't know what I wanted anymore. I was too skinny, I was too fat at the same time, pretty much. It was like 1 or 2 weeks apart, these events, so I was, what's going on? And that messed up my head for 1 or 2 years. I couldn't put the weight back on because I was worried that I would become too fat again. I was never fat. I stopped cutting so much on food, and when I had more time to go to the supermarket, buy my food, cook my food, of course I started eating more. Still, to really thrive and to look my best, it was difficult for me to try to allow myself to eat more, because I was worried if I would start adding things like chocolate and ice cream and cake, wouldn't I become too much? It was really puzzling me for a very long time. I was still modeling, not with Next. I went to Madrid, I went to Barcelona. I think I was in Paris with them. They generally like skinny girls in Paris. But Next kept me in that loop. They were saying, oh no, she still doesn't look like we wanted her to look, which is already crazy. You either like the way I look or you don't. They kept me for around 1 year, not letting me to go to New York, which was my main goal all along. I was in Europe, I was doing my stuff, I was studying at the same time, but I was just not happy. I always was trying my absolute best. I never felt like I could reach it. So I ended up changing the agency because I said enough is enough. If they don't want me, it's fine, I will find someone else. So I changed to Elite, again worldwide, and I went to New York. New York was absolutely amazing. I loved it there so much. I think it was a time where I did let it go for a bit. I had friends there and lifestyle was amazing. I loved that. It gave me so many opportunities. Castings for Also Time New York was really busy. It was just a very happy place for me. But then my visa expired. So I had to go back to renew it. You can do nothing worse for your career rather than overstay your visa. I had to go back to London, which I hated at that point. Place only reminded me about that crazy experience, how I felt lonely, ashamed of myself, and just really confused. I came back here. I had a great agency. Storm really was amazing for me at the beginning. Storm models, they were like my family for a long time, and they grew me as a person, they grew me as a model a lot. I'm really thankful for my first ever booker. She was a dream. You really need a good booker who believes in you and who will push you, and that is the most important in modeling. In London, I started to realize that it's not about how you look, but how you feel much more. It took me, as I said, 1 or 2 years to overcome that trauma in the beginning. And I started to discover plant-based lifestyle. I was still eating meat, and I just realized that I'm not particularly feeling great after a meal. If I had it late at night or if I had too much of it, I started to ask myself questions why. As well, I took an allergy test and I realized that I tried from plants. I decided to first go pescatarian, but then I decided to go vegetarian and then plant-based. It just worked for me. It may not work for you, and it may not work for everyone. I understand and respect it, so please respect my point of view and respect my story. I know that there are lots of trolls out there, so please reframe of commenting, because I will delete all the negative comments. Life is too short for negativity, and I'm sharing my story, so maybe it will help someone. At least I hope that, or it will be entertaining, I don't know. But it's scary to put yourself out there. Please have respect for that. This is just my story. I'm not saying that this is a remedy or this is how everyone should do it. It's my experience and this is my life journey. When I decided to go plant-based, and as well, I'm not a strict vegan. This is just has to be said as well. I'm not putting myself in a box basically, because I don't want to have any limitation at this point. I spent lots of precious minutes in my life just putting myself in these boxes, like you can't eat that, you cannot eat this, you can't do that, you cannot do this, and I don't want that anymore. I want to enjoy life and I want to live to the fullest. Plants give me energy. I started to do sports like I never done in my life. I was never sporty. I started to run longer distances. I started to do HIIT. I started to do yoga, Pilates. I really felt in love with moving my body, and this is all because I made these changes to my lifestyle. As well, I'm happy. I finally was in peace with what I was eating. I could eat chocolate, I could eat ice cream, I could eat wherever I wanted without feeling guilty or without feeling I need to watch next day what I'm gonna eat. I don't have this anymore, or at least it went down to the minimum. Of course, I will still doubt myself, but I'm only human. So this concludes the beginning. I hope that you like my story. If you have any questions, not that like it's my story, you may like it or may not like it. I hope that you like this video. Give a thumbs up if you did, and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions, or if you want me to film any specific video about modeling in different markets, if you have any questions towards modeling, please do ask them. I will answer to everyone if they are coming from the good place. And I'm sending you lots of love. See you soon.